The UK can be quite a lonely place, and this becomes even more apparent around this time of the year, which is why I'm making this video as to how I made new friends in the UK. But in order to tell you the story, I have to go back over 15 years ago when I moved to the UK in the middle of August in 2008 on my 22nd birthday. I was very hopeful because I already had friends from Nigeria dotted around the UK, and I was thinking we could just resume our friendship as we had back home. But the truth of it was that everyone was busy with work or studies, and we didn't really have time to make that happen. So I had to come up with other ways in order to forge new friendships in the UK. And the first thing I quickly noticed was that in order to make new friends, you had to have a social life. One that I couldn't afford at the time because I was a student on a very limited budget. In fact, by the time I'd paid my rent and bills, I only had £30 to my name, which I then had to distribute towards transportation, feeding, and emergencies if they did crop up. So this meant that my options were pretty limited. And the first thing I did was to actually put up an ad on Gumtree advertising that I was looking for a friend and I was new in the UK. It'd be lovely to, find someone that we shared a lot in common and hopefully build a new friendship from there on. At the time, Gumtree was the perfect place to find anything you were looking for in the UK. That was how I found my shared accommodation. That was how I was able to buy old furniture if I needed any. That was also how I found a part-time job later on down the line. So I thought to myself, this would be the perfect place for me to advertise that I was looking for a friend. And after 2 weeks of my ad being up, I got a lovely guy called Andrew respond to my message and said he was around Birmingham at the time. That was where I was based. And he said he was also looking for new friends because he lived in Billericay in Essex and found himself around Birmingham area. So after a few weeks of chatting back and forth, we realized that we got on really well, so we decided to meet in person. We met at the city center, we went for coffee, and we found out that we actually got on really well in person. And he was telling me about himself and what he was studying, and I shared the same as well. And this friendship kind of blossomed from there, almost to the point where he told his parents about me. And during Christmas, they will drive down from Billericay to pick me up and drive me back to Essex with them, where I spent my Christmas with Andrew and his family. They were such a welcoming and a hospitable family. His mom went out of her way to teach me how to cross stitch, and we will both do it together over Christmas. It was such an amazing time with Andrew and his family, and I really cherish those moments. So fast forward until a few years, everyone got busy. I got a job. Andrew moved back to Essex. So it meant that we didn't keep in touch as much because everyone had kind of like moved on with their lives. And my friends that I already knew from Nigeria, one of them was then in Manchester, where I eventually found myself. We built up a close friendship. And that was amazing. We spent a lot of time together. We supported each other through really patchy moments. And I was still able to keep in touch with my other friends who are dotted around in the UK. The older I got, the more we got married. Some had children. I would say 90% of my friends now have kids. So their lives then revolved around their kids and their family. So the friends that I used to be very close to, I'm no longer as close to them. And it's not because they don't love me as much as they used to. It's just because their priorities have changed. They now have families and they want to set values for those families. And they're going out and doing things that just involve themselves and their families. And I get that. Even though I am in the creative space and I get to attend a lot of social events, the thing is that I made new friends as a result of this. But their schedule is just as busy as mine, which means that they're also traveling and being busy and occupied with work as well. So we've not really had time to continue and maintain that friendship on a deeper level. So what that has meant for me was that even though I am more of an introvert, and I actually did a video on my channel talking about being alone but not lonely. Even though I'm an introvert, I pretty much enjoy being around the company of people that I really get on with and connect with, because I find it very useful, because us human beings, we are not meant to be isolated from one another. We are social beings, and we're meant to, support one another and be part of a community. One way that I was able, I would say, to then make new friends despite being in my late 30s was basically taking on a new challenge. And that to me was trying out something I'd never done before, going to the gym. I used to think that a gym was a place where you went to be tortured. I don't know why I thought that. But at the start of the year, I was thinking to myself, I think I would love to start going to the gym and training. But I knew in my heart that I would not be able to maintain it if I was doing it by myself. So I decided to get a PT. Funny enough, there was a time I was walking past the library in town with one of my friends in the creative space, and a young lady ran up to me and she was very excited and she gave me a hug. And I didn't know who she was, but she was just very bubbly with a lot of positive energy. She told me that she followed me on Instagram, and so I followed her back, and I started following her journey online, and I saw that she was a PT. So she was the first person that came to my mind when I said I wanted to go to the gym. So I reached out to her on Instagram and I said I wanted to start going to the gym and asked her if she was available. And she responded to me within 10 minutes saying, yes, come to the gym today for a consultation and we'll see how it goes. I go to her gym and I really enjoyed working out with her, even though I had no core balance or strength whatsoever. She was able to cheer me on, and the rest is history. I've been going to the gym 3 times a week and working out with her, and she's been able to introduce me to a community of other girls who work out, because she does this program called Strong Girl Saturdays, where she brings all her clients together and we all work out together in pairs and support each other throughout this process. So that's been a great way for me to build new friends. And I'd say this friendship that's come about has also led to me having deep conversations with people who share a similar lifestyle with me. So I'm not talking about superficial friendships. We actually go out for meals. We make time for one another. In fact, one person from the group actually had an accident with her knee, and my PT dropped everything she was doing to go to the hospital with her. That's how much connection we've built with one another in the group. That's how I've gone about finding my PA, because in just having this conversation within this setting, telling people I actually need a new PA to help me with my creative job, my PT was able to recommend somebody from her community, and now I have a full-time PA working for me as a result of this. So I would say my way of finding new friends was actually to try something new, but this could also work out for you in terms of like doing something you already love, but this might be something whereby you've been staying at home and keeping to yourself and doing it by yourself. And I feel like maybe it's time for you to find a community out there. One app that I recently came across, I would say last week, was called Click. They're not sponsoring this video, and they try to bring people together who share the same goals and passion. And I feel like that could be a good way to find your own community online. And I'll give you an example of how my husband was able to achieve this by following his own passions. So he loves gaming, and he often goes on Discord and chats to other gamers alike. And during the pandemic, when people were locked up at home, that was a very lonely period, he was able to build a friendship with someone in New York. And this friendship, I would say, has been very, very inspirational to see blossom, to say the least. My husband doesn't like being filmed, but he will ask me to film him to sing happy birthday to his friend's daughter all the way in New York, and I'll film it and he'll send it to them. That's how much this friendship has blossomed. And now they visit each other. His friend has been down to Manchester to visit him, and Craig just came back from New York a week ago going to see his friend and he spent time with your family. They spent Halloween together. And all this came about just from them having this conversation on Discord, sharing their love for their games and their characters. And here we are. He has a new best friend and they are in communication every day. So I would say the two things that you could work on if you were looking to make new friends would be to pursue new passions, try out something new, or focus on the passions that you already have and look for communities that share the same passions with you. And that might be a new way for you to find a community that works with you. Although I want to put a full disclaimer, if you are finding communities for yourself, try to avoid MLMs because it's going to cost you time, effort, friendship, and money. And it's not going to be worth it for you because those are not friendship communities at all. So you want to be careful where you end up in your journey of finding new friends. Let me know in the comment box down below how you've been able to find new friends as you get older, because one thing that people often say is that it's harder to find friends the older you get. And I have been pleasantly surprised that I was able to forge new friendships. We started at the start of the year and we have grown closer, and our friendship group has become one that's been very supportive, which is something I did not expect to happen. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.